liberal media is a criticism that I think we hear a lot, but there's also way more liberal media and way more conservative media. And so I don't know. I don't put that much stock in it.
Or people think CNN always leans one way. How do you feel about that?
It does.
And it's your network, so you don't really...
Look, I would say it's fair to say that CNN, we're not Fox News.
But the problem is CNN and Abby Phillip, she's called an anchor. She purports to be somebody who's basically like right down the middle.
But we're also not MSNBC. That's true. We're probably center left, and I think that has a lot to do with our audience.
A lot of the narratives that come out of the right as conspiracy mongering or partisan football, whereas she sees what comes out of the left as much more objective, or what comes out of the Democratic Party as much more objective. Like, that is just somebody with a clear as day ideological bias who can't see her own ideological bias.
So CNN fake news' most boring opinion commentator Abby Phillip is out here on Charlamagne's The Breakfast Club trying to actually make sense for a change. Now, some of the things she said I still consider to be a bunch of freaking BS, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Now, The Breakfast Club is very, very strict on copyright claims, like literally a few seconds. I don't exactly know how that works for them, but not for other channels. It doesn't do that. So I got to be pretty strict myself. In some cases, you may not even see the video, but have audio only. So just keep that in mind as I go ahead and react to this. By the way, guys, there's a new feature on YouTube where you can hype videos. So be sure to like the video, hype the video. It helps out a lot. Appreciate you.
We have to know what everybody is saying on all sides of the issue, because I don't think that ignorance has served anybody well. And particularly, I get a lot of criticism from the left, from people who are like, why does she have MAGA people on the show? And it's like, well, you should know what they're saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Because just so you know, half the country voted for Trump and for Trumpism.
Well, I mean, more people voted for Trump than for the Democrats. I want to make sure that that record is clear. President Trump won the popular vote, so let's keep going.
And it's not helpful to be completely unaware of what is happening in those media ecosystems. So I personally think it's super important, and I want the debate. Like, we need to have that debate. I want it to be right there out in the open. And I also think that it's important for people on both sides to practice being challenged. Because what we've found on the show is that a lot of people are not used to being challenged.
Well, you mean the people on the left? I mean, Abby Phillip has a history of only challenging conservatives on the show.
Actually, the Media Research Center did a study. This is a conservative group. They did a study back in September, and they counted how many times. They took a random sample of 10 episodes of CNN NewsNight, and they counted how many times Abby Phillip just interrupted different guests, from whether it's left or the right. They found she interrupted her liberal guests 3 times and her conservative guests 127 times. So basically, they said conservatives were interrupted 60% of the time and were interrupted adversarially 58% of the time. Liberals were interrupted only 8% of the time and were interrupted adversarially just 1% of the time. Of the 30 guests who were never interrupted adversarially, 29 were liberals. The sole conservative to avoid being cut off by Phillip spoke only twice for a total of 68 seconds.
So I know she loves to both sides this situation, but she doesn't challenge her own kind. She doesn't even admit that she's a leftist to begin with. None of the people at Fake News CNN do, but we all know the truth.
And when they have somebody literally staring them in the face saying, I disagree with you, for some people, they're like really taken aback. When you look at what Trump is doing as president, in a way, he's challenging capitalism. He's putting tariffs on countries indiscriminately just because he wants to, making the case that he's doing it.
Not in China. I mean, China has some pretty specific things, as well as Canada. I mean, as well as India. I mean, I don't know why she said that, because now that I think about it, that's just factually incorrect, but let's keep going.
For Americans, he is taking government stakes in private companies. That's a Bernie Sanders idea, by the way. He is creating a government website where people can shop around for prescription drugs, another Bernie Sanders idea. So his willingness to just take some of these ideas the Democrats have been talking about and just do them, no matter how controversial they are, has been one of the things that, whether you like him or not, what people will say about Trump is that he does what he says. And I think that Democrats, one of the big problems that they have is that voters don't think they're going to do what they say.
That's a fact.
They say all the right things, but they don't think they're going to do what they say.
Well, yeah, there's an obvious reason for that. It's because they keep voting for them anyway. If you know that you can make stupid promises, say ridiculous things, do ridiculous things, basically go against everything that you claim to stand for, but people are going to vote for you anyway because big bad racism, because of big fat racist in the other party, then, I mean, why do they have to execute on any promises? I mean, you might have some actual real independents who might decide to, vote Republican or not vote at all or vote third party or something. But the vast majority of Democrats, especially black folks, are going to vote for Democrats no matter what. Don't even know what the hell these people stand for, what's going on. They just point the finger at some alleged racism, and that's really all they need to do.
And so whether it's challenging, you can call it challenging capitalism or challenging whatever, voters want to know that you're willing to buck the system for them. And I think Trump does that right now in a way that really shakes people up and makes people really mad. But that is also why a lot of voters, whether they like him or not, they will describe him as effective.
I wonder how, though, because
What do you mean you describe him as effective? He is effective. If he's doing things that he said he was going to do, he is effective. He said he was going to shut the border down. Check. He said he was going to strengthen the economy and reduce the inflation. Check. He said that he was going to end the wars. Check, check, check. President Trump is effective. Well, guys, that's about as far as you can get into the program before Abby Phillip goes full woke leftist CNN propagandist like usual. But she did have some interesting things to say here, because guarantee you that these few words, case in point, the video that I'm making, along with probably many others, are going to be leveraged to demonstrate that she is pointing out the effectiveness of Trump. Even a CNN propagandist to the likes of Abby Phillip, who absolutely is a radical leftist, guarantee you she voted for the cackler Kamala Harris. Abby is definitely smarter, not a smart person in my opinion, but definitely smarter than Kamala Harris is. And yet I'm sure that in her twisted brain, she still, for some reason, admires this alleged black woman who's an Indian pretending to be black. And I'm sure that she voted for her with absolute certainty. Unless she comes out and says, no, I didn't vote for Kamala Harris, then and only then will I even begin to second guess my opinion on that, based off the way that she continually remarks negatively against anything conservative leaning and tends to try to cover things up, such as Biden's cognitive decline, the lawfare against Trump. I mean, you name it, Abby Phillip has tried to play cover for the radical left Democrats. But at least today, it's like she had a freaking malfunction. She leaked that President Trump was effective and that Democrats are in some ways being stupid for trying to not pay attention to what the conservatives are saying, not have people on shows. I mean, this is how you end up getting your ass kicked, and people end up wanting to self-delete because someone else that they didn't expect to get elected gets elected. Remember how the polls were like, oh, Kamala's going to win. Kamala's going to win. We see how that turned out. But these are just my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you watching The Black Anomaly. Rise channel. I'm out.
Abby Phillip, but she is a good reflection of the type of liberal who believes that her facts are not disputed, right? That she believes conservative arguments to the set of facts legacy media considers to be consensus objectivity are their arguments are conspiracy theories, their arguments are baseless, but her, the responsible anchor, her facts aren't skewed to the left. Her facts are just objective. That is one of the most dangerous viewpoints that you can have in media, that you can have as a news anchor, because it ends up completely blowing up your trust.